You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go. I don't know why I'm doing a rock DJ voice, but it just came out of me, so I don't know what's going on there. Welcome to the big show. My family and friends, as always, for 16 years, 2,500 episodes. We bring you the Chris Voss Show, and we just keep doing it, damn it. And you can't stop us no matter what you do. Why would you want to stop the Chris Voss Show? I don't know. Anyway, guys, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity. All those crazy places on the internet. Today, amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking about his insights, his new app, and some of the things he's trying to accomplish, and why you should probably download it now. We'll get into that. We are joined on the show with Ebrima Jallow. He's going to be joining us on the show and talking about it. Did we get that right? Ebrima.
Yeah, we did. Now we got it right.
There we go. All right, let's cut that for the edit then. Ebrima Jallow joins us on the show, and we're going to be talking about his app and everything else. He is the founder and CEO of Trips, with a Z at the end, TRIPPZ. It's a nostalgia-driven social platform that helps relive and share meaningful memories across generations. With over a decade in product development, he's worked at the intersection of users and builders, learning how ideas become products that truly touch lives. He's been bootstrapping it while working full-time in the late nights and weekends into a mission to create a platform that doesn't chase fleeting trends, but celebrates the moments that shape who we are. He believes real innovation isn't just about the next shiny thing. It's about building something that lasts. Trips is his answer, proving that even in the fast-moving world, memories still have the power to connect and inspire. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jallow. How are you?
Not too bad, Chris. You know, that intro, the energy level, and I can't match it. I'm sorry. You would just have to stick with my semi.
There you go. Well, we put a shocker underneath your chair, so we're just going to push the button to jump you up in energy there as you go. So, so welcome to the show. Give us .coms, wherever you want people to find you on the interwebs.
So Facebook, I think we're on live right now. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I'm on Twitter, Fulani Dude. Fulani, Fulani, Instagram, Fulani Dude as well. Yeah, you can find me in those platforms.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview of what this app is and what it does.
I think you pretty much nailed it. I don't even think I can do a better job than you, but let me try. So imagine Trips as your platform to come in and relive your good old days, your golden days, right? With the people that you grew up with people that, you know, you have fond memories with, just reliving those memories and not just archiving, but you can kind of revisit every part of your life that you miss. Things that, how many times have you been driving in a car and a particular song come on and you're like, man, I remember exactly where I was when the song came on. You know, or movies that you cannot forget, sports moments that you just cannot get out of your head. So it's a matter of just coming in and reliving the things that matter to you most. And it goes across different things, not just music or sports or movies. It goes into any kind of memory that you can put your mind on.
There you go. There you go. So you tell us the story of this app. You and who's I should probably, let's change up on that question because we want to pull the app a little bit. Who's the key user you're targeting with the app? Who's the main people that are gonna, you know, really find this app really exciting to use?
Yeah, great question. I think the way I look at the app, right, the person that's 40 years old versus the person that's 20 years old, they have two different memory banks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the person that lived to 40 obviously have a lot of memories in their memory bank than the person that just lived for 20 years. Now, the person that's also 20 years can probably start thinking about life when they were 15 years old, when they were 13 years old. So it's pretty much for, there's really not a whole lot of age specific in its nature, but it's just more like who is able to, um, think back a little bit. And some of us experience mid-level nostalgia. Some of us experience peak level nostalgia,
Mm.
right? So if you're a college student and you graduated at 22, you start to think back to your high school days. If
Mm.
you're a 30-year-old, you start to think back to your 20-year-old days. So it's pretty much for anybody that have whose memory bank have grown enough to say, man, I miss the good old days.
Mm. Well, there you go. The good old days. Where
Good.
isn't there a song that says the good old days? It's Billy Joel. The good old days weren't always good.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly. And that point right there that you just brought up, uh,
mhm.
people always, I think us as humans, right, we always kind of, our natural inclination when things around us start to move too fast or we don't
Mhm.
recognize the present anymore, right,
Mm.
we start to revert to, oh man, I miss the good old days. But if you really think about it, Chris, there's not a lot of, the good old days were not really all that good, right?
Mm.
Future is always better, whether
Mm.
there's advancement in technology, whether there's advancement in health, advancement in life expectancy, food. Well, food maybe that might be a little too stretching it too far. The foods back then might be better than today because there's
They
more.
were. They weren't filled with sugar and
Yeah,
the what's that thing that the corn syrup,
yeah,
high fructose corn syrup.
yeah,
It's like in
exactly.
everything. They
Yeah,
even put high fructose corn syrup in corn now. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So the point I was trying to make is that we are always reverting back to the days, we call it, when times were simple, right?
Mhm.
20 years from now, this era would be seen as simple too, right? So that's kind of, it's a funny thing always as humans. We always say, man, I miss the good old days. I miss the simpler times. But that's a very natural inclination because things around us, we don't recognize it anymore. So
Mm.
you are logically, reverting back to your comfort zone.
Mm. There you go. And so people can download the app. It's available on iTunes and Android.
iOS, Apple, and Android, correct?
There you
It's
go.
TRIPPZ.
So what was the proponent for this idea? What made you have that aha moment where you're like, there needs to be an app for this nostalgia?
Right. So I'm a kind of person, right? Ever since I was a kid, I've always been very interested in things that happened before me.
Mm.
I've built that and that kind of spans over time, right?
Hmm.
When I was probably about 10, 12 years old, I was listening to music that was 30, 20 years behind me, right? So, and not just music, but I've always also been interested in the old world.
Hmm.
I saw you interview David Rubenstein.
Oh yeah,
That's
David.
one of my favorite CEOs, right?
Hmm.
I got four favorite CEOs. That's Jeff Bezos, Rubenstein, Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn, and Reed Hastings from Netflix.
Oh yeah.
So David Rubenstein, when I was looking at kind of the people that you've interviewed
Hmm.
before me to kind of just understand the flow,
Hmm.
so Rubenstein, I'm like, wow, that's my guy. But he is the one that bought the Magna Carta document from like
Yeah.
1100s, right? I
Hmm.
was doing research back then in '07 or '08, and I ran into that. And why would I do a research about Magna Carta,
Hmm.
something that happened in the 12th century, right? But that's kind of how I always operate from way back. Like I've been interested about things. I look at what life is today, and then I
Hmm.
ask the question, well, what was it like before today, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of time on YouTube
Hmm.
looking at things that I was fond of in the '90s, late early 2000s, whether that's
Hmm.
music or whether that's sports or film. And then one day, I spent a lot more time than I should, and that's not just YouTube. I'm always going back on many different platforms and looking at things from a historical perspective. So one day I thought to myself, like, wouldn't it be good if I can just have if there's a platform, not me, but if there was a platform where you wanted to revisit anything, you can find it, right?
Mm,
Because if you go to Facebook today, they have the Facebook memory,
mm-hmm,
a picture like 2 years ago, and today's the anniversary. It'll say, hey, you know, on this day you took this picture, right? But that's just one feature.
mm-hmm,
If you go to Reddit, or if you go to Pinterest or TikTok or Instagram, it's like fragmented. It's not in what it ever. The experience is just not uniform.
mm-hmm,
So then naturally, this is one of those where, you know, I was trained to, if you're gonna bring up an idea, it should be based on people said they need it.
mm-hmm,
Also be based on you actually need it.
mm-hmm,
So this trips idea is something that I thought I needed, right? It was out of my own need, right? And then, you know, the benefit of it was I decided that you can have a platform, like a social media platform, just like any other, and people can come in and relive memories on any category, right?
mm-hmm,
So if you want to post about throwback technology, even recipes from your family, from, you know, passed down to you, right?
mm-hmm.
Classic movies or sports or fashion. I'm sure, Chris, you had your baggy jeans back in the day. Uh,
Oh yeah, I was a fashion icon.
I'm sure you were a fashionista back in the day.
I don't know
You
about
know,
that, but
products that we miss, all advertisements, right?
yeah.
And so I started coming up with the idea, and I'm like, you know, I think I think I gotta build this. And but I sat on it for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until during the pandemic, in 2020, ESPN had a show, Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls Last Dance. I don't know if you saw that,
Oh yeah, it was a
but
beautiful documentary on
you know, obviously everybody was home back at that time, right? April of 2020. So we definitely could use some of that, could use some memories.
Oh yeah.
And I remember watching that, and I was like, you know, I was really struck by the amount of things that happened behind the scenes that I didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
That many people didn't know. So the show was a hit, and so when the whole series was finished on ESPN, and I saw the attention around it, that kind of gave me the push to go on to this idea that I've had, which kind of mirrors that, and put it in practice. So, and 5 years later, I didn't develop the app though until around 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I was I was walking around the lake, 4th of July, right? So there was an idea, there was some spot that I did not quite nail down in my head, and I wasn't gonna start writing the code or the app until I nailed that down. So I was walking around the lake, um, just kind of thinking through, and it clicked. I got in my car, man, came right back home, and July 4th, 2022 is when I wrote the idea on paper.
There
And
you go.
September I started building. So
Now, do you know how to code? Did you code the app yourself, or did you
I
end
have
up having
a
to
team.
hire?
I have a team. I know I've coded, but I don't do it full time.
Uh huh.
I'm more on the user experience. That's kind of what I've been doing for the past decade at least. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
kind of charting what the user experience looks like. So my roles have been being a business analyst and a product owner in a technology team, which, you know, my role is to bridge that gap between the person that needs the technology, um, the and how they want to use it, and then on the other side you have the person that's going to build the tool, right? So it is my job. My career has been taking what the users want, how they want it, and what the parameters are, what the limits of the technology should be, kind of understanding that nature,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at on since I understand how to code or how code operates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can sort of advise the developers who build the tool and say, here's what we need, here's how
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be tested, here's how we make sure it kind of meets the criteria of that. So I'm more on the design side, kind of
Mm-hmm.
designing what the user experience from, you know, point A to point B to point Z,
Mm-hmm.
whole flow looks like, so that we are building exactly what the intended use case is.
There you go.
I have
Yeah,
a team. I'm one of a team that is building this.
there you go. And you're right. There's a few different, like Google Photos tries to do this reminder with me. They'll be like, here's this pictures of your dogs like 10 years ago or something. And it's kind of nice, but sometimes that, it's really bad at I still struggle. I've had like 4 dogs over my lifetime so far, in my adult life, I should say.
Yeah.
And they're used, I think 3 of the 4 have been black and white huskies,
Hmm.
and they do have different facial looks, but man, it gets confused. Like they'll be like, here's some pictures of Rocky, and I'm like, no, that's my dog Freya. And I
Right.
tried to fix it a million times and finally just gave up.
Right.
But
And Chris, I'm glad you brought that up, the Google
mhm,
Photos thing.
mhm,
I was talking with one of the investors. They reached out, wanted to understand how we're doing, and asked me like, how different is this from Google Photos, like memories? And Google Photos is static, right?
mhm,
It does not go beyond just showing what, just like the Facebook memories, right? You don't go beyond just seeing what the memory is, what it is showing you.
mhm,
What we're trying to do here is to make that Google Photos memory,
mhm,
I'll take it one step further and make it interactive, right?
mhm,
You see, corporations do this all the time. Um, and I'm sure we're going to get to that later. But the nostalgia-driven marketing is a thing, right?
mhm,
Every corporation is trying to do that. You look at McDonald's advertisements. You look at Lego. You look at Nike, Volkswagen, Coca-Cola. I mean, I can go on and on, right? Uh,
mhm,
they're all trying to play off of our fond memory of something, right?
mhm,
Something that we knew from back then. So making that interactive just from the ad space alone is what we're trying to do here, but beyond, right? Is have a platform where we can come in and celebrate those memories that we all have, because it's universal. Uh,
mhm,
Everybody, the memories, some of them might be good, some of them might be bad, but even in the bad ones, we when we look at ourselves today, we can kind of understand how far we've grown, and what how much we have persevered, and how we
mhm.
got to where we are today.
There you go. Is the one thing man can learn from his history is that man never learns from his history, and thereby we go round and round. And that's the thing. It's important to remember our history. It's important to know our history, and all that good stuff. And
Yeah.
it's important to remember these things too. I mean, it's sometimes we go through life and we don't really, look at what we did and learn about what we did, and that's it's all these things are really important to knowing where your past is and what you've done. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So have
Well,
you developed apps before? Was this your first app? Was this your first entrepreneurial venture, or were there others?
no, this was not, sadly. There was another one. It was more in the financial sector,
Mm-hmm.
but when the way sometimes some of these things, if it's you gotta look at the interdependencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You develop an app, it may be tied to some, maybe the readiness of it is dependent upon some government agency clearing some regulatory process,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe some, whatever it could be, like it may be tied to some things being signed off on by higher powers, from either from the government or from state or local officials. That always becomes tricky. So we had to shelve that,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the too many complications. It's always better, in my experience, look at ideas that you don't have a lot of things tied to it that are going to be bogged down on some bureaucratic process.
Mm-hmm.
But before I even forget, I wanted to get to something you just said about history. I always think about the 1918 or 1917 pandemic. During that time, they said when the COVID happened, they said also another one happened in 1917. Problem is, whoever that was alive in 1917 might not have been alive in 2020, right? So it's kind of hard to see a reference point like, hey, when it happened in 1917, here's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So we that are alive today can kind of look at that and say, oh, they did this, they did that. Maybe let's do this. Obviously not the same way, but let's kind of adjust our strategy a little bit, and we might get better.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the main points of trips is to catalog what we're doing, right? The memories don't just have to die; they can be look at trips as like a digital museum, if you will, right? Because if there was a digital museum back in 1917, we could easily trace back what we could do in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of us would not be scrambling, going here and there. That's why I respect David Rubenstein so much. In your interview with him, he the fact that he put all these efforts in capturing that Magna Carta document and putting all his energy and resources. That's an expensive document. I think it was like $22 million that he bought it for,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's an expensive document. But if you read his reasoning of wanting to go after that document, it's kind of fascinating, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I just didn't want to forget that part before I jumped into something else. Thought it was an important point.
There you go. There you go. So, see, you're moonlighting. You're trying to do this app. That's a hard
Yes.
thing for people to do, and there's a lot of
Yes.
wannabe entrepreneurs that listen to the show, that are trying to figure out, how do I move from a day job to, doing this. And I remember moonlighting when I started my second company, or well, the official second company that became successful. There's a few that I tried after starting my first that were just like little experiments and test runs that didn't the road just didn't hit.
Mhm.
But I remember my first one, we were going to moonlight, and that's hard. It's hard. You're working 8 hours a day for someone else, and then you're trying to achieve your dreams at night. How do you keep going during those times? What motivates you during those times?
It's very hard. Um, there is no sugarcoating it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, a lot of times you would find that abandoning the project, letting it just fall to the wayside,
Mm-hmm.
is much easier than continuing to finish it. Like, Robert Kraft, I always think to the things that there's something he said that
Mm-hmm.
95% of people don't finish the last 5% of a big task.
Mm-hmm.
you know um, it's very hard to finish up an idea when you have a full-time job, because you got to get off work, and not just like forget even the job part, like just thinking and perfecting the idea in your head, and then making sure that it is exactly how you're thinking it, and then building it. So that's why I'm fully responsible for the design of this app, because I own that 100%, because since it's in my head, I need to be the one at least to kind of make sure it is exactly as how I envision it. Now, customers then or users can come and tell me otherwise, right? Then I can adjust it. But you go to work, you do all that, and then you get off work, you think, you work throughout all night, and then the idea is sometimes you come at a log jam, right? You don't even know where to go next.
Mm-hmm.
And then the financial aspect of it as well, right? The bootstrapping aspect of it, um, it's much easier today than to develop an app today than it is 10-15 years ago. And in fact, when I was coming up with this app just 4 years ago, life in building an app is much easier right now as I speak than just 4 years ago, because of all the AI tools that are out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've had an idea and entrepreneur aspiring, it's not late for you. In fact, you're at a better time if you just know how to use these AI tools. I think that's the next thing people need to kind of focus on, like, how do I leverage AI? Because you're gonna find out that the AI tool it learns better if you give it better instructions. Um, So for me, I didn't, when I was developing, the chat GPT came out in November 2022. And then I started building this app in July of 2022. But chat GPT did not mature until 2 years later. When it first came out, it was hallucinating a lot, making a lot of mistakes. So I couldn't depend on those. I still, we have some AI driven things as we wrote in the app, absent of that. But
Mhm.
the sacrifices, they're there. And I think the harder part even is to just perfect thinking of the idea. It's one thing to be able to think of an idea, but it's quite another to think of it and build it and then say, hey, Chris, use this. Does it fit how I'm thinking it? Right.
Mhm.
I think that's the very rewarding. That harder part is also the most rewarding. Like when people use it, and like people tell me, we put that on the app now, like, man, I did not know I needed this. Like, or it's something that seems so obvious when they scroll and they see a picture from like their childhood, something they knew before. But yeah, it's a lot of sacrifice. You just have to don't be part of the 5% that don't finish the big task. You have,
Yeah.
but I think you gotta love it though. You gotta be passionate about what you. It's gotta mean something to you, because other
Mhm.
if not, Steve Jobs got a great analogy about that. Like you have to really be passionate about it because it's so hard, right?
Mhm.
It's one thing to, by the time you think of it and by the time you build, you put it in the hands of users, a lot of people are caught in that. But the amount of adjustments that happens in between thinking of the idea and then having it ready and pushing it to the app store,
Mhm.
man, you have to really you have to be ready, like you have to have the time too. Like it's not an easy thing for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you even have to get approval from the app stores to
Oh
put it
man,
on.
don't get me started. Man, don't get me started on that. Like
Mm.
I've also, when I at my full-time job, when we would launch to the apps to, it's like the app stores, especially Apple, they would just give you a hard time. Android, Google, they're easy to deal with. But I come to learn a whole lot. Just as much as I thought I knew before, it's a different story when you have to deal with them directly, right?
Mhm.
Like they would ask for small things and you just sit there like you cannot be serious.
Mhm.
It's not. So yeah, there's those small little things. And if you're like a financial app, for instance, you have a whole different battle to fight with them because of all the costs, the cost that they would take out if you're selling something, like if you're Amazon or eBay or whoever. You have to pay a certain percentage to the app store. I think about 33% for
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
which if you're Amazon, I guess you're fine. But if you're me, you know,
Yeah. Just
how those costs, how would you ever scale your business, right? So it's a lot of ins and outs that the app stores they would do to you, that makes it even much easier for you to give up on your idea rather than continue with it, you know.
yeah, that monopoly is a bit discouraging. I think some of that's been I think some of that's been adjudicated in the courts of the
Yeah, and they
30%
won't.
fee and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
came back and Apple can still charge. So
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
um
But,
the
it's
point that you made
discouraging.
earlier too about,
Mhm.
I didn't mean to cut you off. The point that you
Yeah.
made earlier when we're in the green room about perfecting an app,
Mhm.
like people make the mistake of, you have this one feature in the app and you keep on hopping on it, like you keep on trying to adjust it. You are over, what do I call it? I think somebody called it over featuring.
Mhm.
Um, you don't even know if the users want the whole app to begin
Mhm.
with. So focus on the major user experience than over, engineering one particular feature. So
Yeah. There you go. There you go. And it's quite the journey, and it's quite a lot. Like you mentioned, it's a lot of there's a lot of high humps to overcome. that can stand in your way. And as an entrepreneur, I mean, if anything, there was this time where in the early app days of after the iPhone launched, and there was this huge gold rush to make apps. They didn't have some of these barriers, and so there was a lot of really cool apps that were able to come to fruition. Um, and I don't think they were charging 30% back then. I don't know. We'd have to go look on your app to find the way back on it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But
Perfect.
it created a lot of innovation, and that's what we need. You need a low bar for I remember when I first started my first big multi-million-dollar company, we were bootstrapping it and moonlighting it, and we had to register at the time. This is in the Clinton era. We had to register in the time with the state transportation oversight, and our courier company, which was a little courier company kind of like FedEx or UPS. And we mainly focused on documents from mortgage companies and attorneys. So we weren't really carrying any like really big boxes or anything. But they lumped us in with like airline tariffs and trucking tariffs. And so we had to pay these enormous fees, these enormous insurance costs to the cars that people normally have to do for, if there's a FedEx van full of shit in it, or, there's an airplane full of people. Well, we don't have the same liabilities. We got one guy driving a Geo Metro, picking up, mortgage documents, right? It's not like we're insuring, bodies and $50,000 worth of crap. And so, but they held us to that bar, and it was really hard. It was really hard to pay those bills, to pay the initial, and then we had to do the application fee. That was expensive and not guaranteed. It was really hard. And so, these are some of the things that people need to think about when politicians, maybe when they think about state and local governments and federal, is that if you squelch this sort of innovation, it makes it really hard for great products to come to fruition.
Yeah, and you just said something that kind of if that process, what you just described, is like clunky, right? There's a lot of steps in there that imagine how things used to work from back in those days versus now. I always think back to this idea of the decoupling of the internet today is what is a result of decoupling all the tasks from like 20 years ago. If you think back, just probably in 2010, if you look at the newspaper, right? If you take the newspaper and break it down and break it apart into pieces, exactly what the apps are today, right? Let's kind of go through them one by one. Zillow used to be the real estate section of the newspaper. Right? If you look at something like the obituaries, there's apps for that today. If you look at your E-Trade app or your Robinhood app, those were the financial sections of the app, right? It basically everything is broken down. If you take the newspaper as a whole, you can see how each section of the newspaper is an app of its own, right? Like you see what I'm saying? Like it's basically a decoupled real estate companies. Yeah, like it just doesn't work the way it works anymore. And somebody posted on Trips the other day. They had a video, a collage of phones, how they used to look like in early 2003, 4. There was a lot of innovation.
Yeah.
Like there was like real hardcore innovation. I had one phone that I flip it up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a small little T. And she posted this. And the description really caught me again to the question of like, when you see people using this thing the way you're thinking it, that's the rewarding part. But she had this post where she was saying that the iPhone, Apple, and Android really killed innovation because now, 20 years later, we only got two phones. You either got the iPhone or you got the your Android phone. But the amount of, so she had this phone, this video that it had a lot of different phones in it. And I started thinking to myself, man, there really was innovation back then. But now they make it hard because there's just one app store, right?
Mhm.
If you build an app, you gotta submit it to that app store, or else there's no they they got the monopoly over it. So that definitely stifles how, if Chris wanna come up with something else, I'm waiting for somebody else. Maybe Chris, you can lead the way here. I'm waiting for somebody else to come up with another app store.
Yeah, that would be nice. I
What's
think I
up?
think I
Can
think
we
there
get
was
something
people that
going?
tried.
Can we like can we build another app? I mean, I'm waiting for like another app store, man.
Well, I think you'd have to create a whole new platform, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and you know, Google decided going into the app store, they have to buy Android, and that's how they got it. It's hard. It's a hard business to go
Mhm.
into, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah. It definitely is. It can be a challenge. It can be a challenge
it
to do
is
these things.
challenging. It is very
So
challenging.
as we round out the show, you wanted to throw some questions at me, I think.
Yes. So I wanted to turn the tables a little bit.
Okay.
Since we're talking about trips, and the Trips app is all about visiting, reliving memory lane. We all have one. Our memories, some of them we cringe when we look back. So I wanted to kind of flip the script on you a little bit and ask you. I got some written questions here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw them at you, right?
Now
First one.
can I plead the fifth?
No, you can't.
I
I did
can't
not.
plead the fifth.
Oh, you
Oh.
can't.
Hey, get my attorney in here, damn it.
Well, yeah, you might. ChatGPT can be an attorney now, so
Oh.
Um, but yeah, the reason I came up with this is this basically goes off of the Trips platform. If you wanted to post, it's got categories about, hey, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about musical memories? Do you want to talk about, throwback technology, fashion, recipe, and advertise things like that? So this is gonna be that. So my first question to you, Chris, is
Yes.
gonna be throwback technology.
Okay.
What is the one piece of tech you wish we still use today?
Now, how far do I have to go back? Is
Go
there
back as far as you can.
as far as I like basically my favorite piece of technology. Um now it should be something I don't have today that I miss, or could I still be in use of it?
Can you still you can
Okay.
still be using it.
I would still say my Android phone.
Your Android phone?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I've had Androids for well since they made them, started making them. So does that
What
count?
about the fax machine?
Oh yeah, I used to have. Oh boy, I used to own several fax machines back in our companies. The days, you know, uh, that was an interesting piece of technology
Yeah, that was.
when it worked.
I hate faxes. I don't even know the
What
medical
do you
industry.
hate about faxes? Who hurt you? Show me on the doll where the fax hurt you.
Yeah, I just don't like to get out of the house and have to go to FedEx and
Uh,
do faxing. It's just just to fax, right?
yeah.
'Cause do you know anybody that owns a fax machine?
There's still companies I come across that they have. It's still on their website, like their fax number and shit.
Yeah, the medical industry still uses
I think,
fax
yeah, I
because
think
they
you're
say it's
right.
not to kill.
Yeah.
So now question two. This is musical memories, right?
Okay.
If you could relive one live concert or musical moment from your past, which would it be?
Now, can it be one that I maybe missed and I wish I regret I'd gone to?
Yeah, that can be too.
Okay. So my biggest regret in life, I think it's number two. My first one is not going to enough Rush concerts because I was a big Rush fan. But and I just barely saw. I should mark this with date and time so people don't write me on YouTube. 9/22/2025. So yesterday I just saw David Gilmour of Pink Floyd, and he's got a beautiful documentary movie of one of his most recent concerts that are in theaters right now. And I in 1994 or five,
Hmm.
Pink Floyd had released the last like studio album that they did. Well, it was the second to last real studio album they did, and they were coming to Las Vegas to start their tour, and they had kind of a limited tour, which should have been a warning sign to me. And I was going to go, and the tickets were pretty expensive, and I was visiting Utah at the time, so I needed to deal with going down to it, and I was really busy with all my companies, and I was like, you know what, they've done two tours, they'll be here for a while, they're gonna be fine, I'll catch the next tour. And they never did a next tour. And that's my second biggest regret in the world. So today or yesterday, when I was at the concert film theater, I got to relive what that experience might have been like a little bit, and it was wonderfully refreshing. But yeah, the rest of my that's probably my dying words. I'll be like, I wish I'd gone to more concerts.
So question number 3.
Hmm?
This one is classic movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
What movie from your childhood do you think still holds up perfectly today?
The Godfather.
Let's make that a 2-part.
Okay.
What movie would you see yourself watching 100 times over?
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
I probably have too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Godfather 2.
Godfather 2?
There's several classics.
Okay, so your
Pretty
mouth.
much anything with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Heat would be probably the number 2. That's such a great movie. Heat. The movie Heat. It had Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in it.
De Niro.
Michael Mann was the director who did Miami Vice, and it is a masterpiece.
I guess this is my first time hearing somebody say they could watch.
Go back and watch it. There's a lot of Easter eggs. You gotta watch it over and over again because you won't. There's a lot of Easter eggs in it. There's a lot of stuff. Like a lot of people didn't figure out that the character of Al Pacino was a cokehead. And when you learn that, you go back and you watch it. And I'm like, holy fuck,
really?
Yeah. In the movie, he's a cokehead.
Right.
Yeah. And it was real subtle how Al Pacino, and I think there was a scene that was deleted. But the epic scene between, and I believe they did that, if I recall right, they did it on screen with the two of them in the same room, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and the infamous lunch or dinner scene at the diner where the two of them have the epic conversation. And there's actually an improv that's in there. And that's what makes it so magical, is the improvisation of these two legends. That may be the only time I think they've ever sat across each other on the screen. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Those two guys.
Yeah. For
me, The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I would quote the whole movie. Don't even get me started.
That is it. That is probably one of my top 5.
Pulp Fiction.
The Dude Abides. Yeah, Pulp Fiction's always good.
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman, yeah.
Oh yeah, people were like, "What?" I'm like, "That's a classic movie, man."
Yeah, I mean, it's basically
great story.
It's basically the Cinderella story.
Redemption.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Redemption. Retold in modern times.
Scarface, Godfather. I can watch
Scarface, you and me.
But I think the one that I've watched over and over is Pulp Fiction. I've watched that movie.
Isn't that an amazing movie?
I found out that the Bible verse Samuel Jackson would just rattle off.
Yeah.
It's not really a Bible verse. He just made it up.
Yeah. He would just.
I didn't know.
He's such a great actor. John Travolta. There was so many great movies. Who's the guy from Die Hard? He's going through Alzheimer's right now or something.
Oh, Bruce Willis.
Yeah. He's great. I mean, that movie was immaculate. I'm a big Tarantino fan.
Yeah, I am. I love his movies.
We can go to the movies together anytime you want.
Mr. Yeah, I mean, we can watch a lot of Tarantino because Tarantino. I mean, he goes hardcore, but that's what I like about him. He goes where nobody else goes. You know,
you're gonna remember his films.
Oh no doubt about that. Next question is legendary sports. So this is your sports moments that you can't forget.
Oh boy.
Who was your sports hero growing up, and would they dominate in today's era?
Oh, they probably would. I would imagine they would. So I grew up watching the ABC Wide World of Sports, and it was Howard Cosell. This is Howard Cosell. I'm here with Muhammad Ali.
Oh, Muhammad. So like in the 60s, 70s stuff?
Oh, yeah. I'm that old, my friend.
Yeah, you sound like...
And Muhammad Ali was not only a god of a boxer, just an immaculate human being. He was that way off the ring. I forgot boxing terminology, evidently. Out of the ring, he was just an amazing, and the limericks or whatever he would come up with, like done slick a beat. I can't even remember what the line is, but he would just deliver these lines, and him and Howard Cosell would kind of put on this stage, this sort of not abrasive, but they would kind of verbally jab at each other. And
Mhm.
Muhammad Ali would, kind of tease him a little bit. It was a love sort of give him shit, male sort of thing that they would do. And so, Howard Cosell would be like, taking the rap from Ali, and Ali was just a giant. He was a heavyweight boxer, you
Right.
know. Back nowadays, it's all these middleweights and lightweights, and I remember watching Ali versus Foreman, the Rumble in the Jungle.
In the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and then I grew up in the age watching Ali where they tried to jail him because he
Oh yeah.
he wouldn't go to the draft,
Right.
and he knew what they were trying to do. They were trying to silence somebody who was seen as a leader, and everybody, well, I don't know that everybody loved Ali, obviously, but he was such a giant of a man. And then to see the rope-a-dope in the, I think that was during the Rumble in the Jungle, I think the rope-a-dope was, to see him just take a beating for, what was it, 10, 9, 15 rounds, and then come back and just wear down, I think he wear down Frazier.
I remember that one.
Yeah, and to see him wear him down by taking a beating, like I don't think I've ever seen anybody take a beating like all he did in the rope-a-dope instance. And so yeah, but the two of them, Howard Cosell, you tuned in to see Howard Cosell. This is Howard, and he had that, I don't know what that fucking thing was.
What you just did, I feel like I'm watching the History Channel.
Yeah, ABC. Well, welcome to Wide World of Sports with Howard Cosell. We have Muhammad Ali on the set. Muhammad Ali, I think he called him Ali. He's like, Ali, how are you today, sir? And Ali would give him some sort of kind of poke and jab, verbal. And
Yeah, Muhammad Ali was a very his character.
Oh, that's what made him so great.
What a great man.
Yeah. I mean, you can see people that are excellent in the ring. Like even now, there's great people that go into the ring, that are the masters of the trade and they win all the awards, they're great. But sometimes when they get off stage or they try and talk, you're just like, who's the Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Like Mike Tyson's like really great in the ring. But, when you listen to talk with that voice, especially like, hey, how's it going? Hey, you're like, oh man, he just blew my whole vision of you, dude. So, but I still love Mike Tyson. In fact, he's gotten kind of wiser. He's gotten older and he's mellowed.
Speaking of Mike Tyson, I always remember his quote, speaking of taking a trip down memory lane when he said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
Nobody thinks Mike Tyson can talk, but yeah, and I heard one of his interview where he was talking about that, like, oh yeah, I didn't even know when I said it, I didn't know how it was gonna become this iconic. But if you look at just that one simple line, one simple quote, that's legendary. That's like iconic. It means a lot today. A lot of people can resonate with that. So the last question here is for games from childhood. What game, be it game board, arcade, playground, instantly takes you back to being here?
There you go. It was Rumble in the Jungle. It was Foreman versus Ali. I just looked that up on the rope-a-dope. So if you don't know what the rope-a-dope is, go watch it and watch that fight because it will change. It comes to entrepreneurial perseverance. What we do, we kind of live through a rope-a-dope. We get the shit beat out of us, and then we win at the end.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I used to love the game Risk. And I never understood why. I liked it. I got really good at it. Same thing with the game Stratego. And what I didn't understand...
Stratego, you say?
Stratego, yeah.
What is that?
It was a strategy game where you would line up kind of you had military titles, and you would line them up. And it was kind of like a variation of chess or checkers. And you would line up two rows of your military folks, and they had different titles, and of course if you captured a certain one you would win the game. And then your opponent did that across the map, and you would have to make moves against each other in certain segments. It was kind of like a cheap version of chess.
Right.
It's a ghetto version of chess, actually. Yeah. But what I didn't understand is why I love Risk so much was it was teaching me strategy. It was teaching me how to think outside the box. It was teaching me how to look at different lanes, look at different things, and all this stuff. and it was really helpful to me in the end for business. Like it just kicked ass. I've used it all my life. And being able to think of strategy, and I would master on how to beat my brother all the time, and he hated me for it. So
Is your brother older or is he younger?
he's younger. So I took all the good stuff out of the womb and left leftovers behind for the rest of my siblings, because that's what you do as the first child. There you go.
Never heard it out, but
yeah. I'm the oldest, so I gotta punch down.
I'm the oldest too, so I know exactly what to tell my younger.
You got to keep them in line, right?
I had to. Yeah.
Make them appreciate you. Yeah. There you go. So it seems like I had a last question for you. Oh, we're getting a lot of great comments here from your audience. Impressive and inspirational interview. Congratulations.
Well, that's Lamin Sabali. Oh, I know that guy.
There you go.
Oh, I have forgotten that I'm on Facebook. He's on Facebook.
Yeah, you're on Channel Live too here. Congratulations. The sky is just the beginning.
Yeah, I forgot.
I think there's Mars after that, right? Well done.
I'm glad I forgot.
There you go. That's my nephew, bro. Cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I read that for a second. I thought that said mom's truck.
I thought he was my older brother, but now he's my uncle. So we got a lot to do. We got a lot to cover there.
There you go. I thought that said mom's trucking, but it's Momo's trucking. Momo. There's a Momo in the movie, a great movie, Get Shorty. I don't know if you ever watched that one, but Momo. That was the name of the mob boss, I think. Good job, our own brother.
Yeah, Famara. Yeah, I know that guy.
Keep it up, bro.
Damn.
There you go. We're getting a lot of love here in comments. Cassell was the greatest in his own right. He sure was, my friend. He was.
Yeah, this guy would know.
Oh, really? There you go.
He's this guy that knows everything.
I used to do a pretty good Howard Cosell because I grew up. I mean, every Saturday morning, ABC Wild World of Sports, and it would play that thing. In fact, that's something that should be on your app. That intro to ABC Wild World of Sports.
Oh yeah, I gotta go look for that. I gotta go find it.
Yeah, there you go. Great job, bro, from Allie.
That's great.
So thank you guys all for making comments and watching the show. We certainly appreciate it. Give us your final thoughts, Mr. Jallow, as we go out. Pitch people and your .coms.
Yeah, gettrips.com is the landing page for the app, but the app itself is in iOS, it's in Android. Trips, go search for TRIPPZ, and again, it's as the name says, it's an app to take a trip down memory lane. And we have a lot. This is just the beginning. The bigger part of the first part was to get the app ready and put it in the hands of people. And so far, the people that have been using it, as you and I, Chris, were talking earlier, we didn't overcomplicate it. We wanted to, when I sit with the team and discuss this idea, what I envision is an app that brings a great user experience, but also discovery, right? There's a lot of times where getting those two is like hard, but we try to accomplish it the best way we can. Having on the technology side, there's a lot more that's coming on the commercial side. We're focused right now on just growing the user base, but at some point I'll come back again when we hit 1 million users, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane and say, hey Chris, remember when we were at 10,000 users and now we're at 5 million?
Nice.
Rubenstein always talks about his regret of not investing in Amazon. He talks about it all the time. He talked about it on your show too.
Oh yeah.
If you're watching, we're 100%. We didn't take any funding at the moment, but don't miss out on your opportunity to not invest in trips if we get to it. So
there you go. Keep tuned. Do you anticipate that you'll might do that?
At some point, we might not have a choice but to to take funding. At this point, thankfully, we're able to bootstrap 100%, fund everything out of pocket. But as we grow, there's a lot of ideas that we have. I can't give too much away right now, but think of it this way, right? On the advertising side, we want to really change how advertising works. So Chris, if you're on YouTube, you're watching a video and an ad comes on, your 90% inclination is to close out the ad, right? Because it's interruptive, it's intrusive. But what we're thinking on trips is, what if we do the opposite? What if we let the ads be part of the process, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to give too much away, but we have a lot more on the commercial side, the scaling partnerships. If you look at companies like Coca-Cola, like I said earlier, Volkswagen, all these companies, they thrive on nostalgia. They thrive on our memories. It's not an accident for you to see an ad that is just capitalizing on your fond memory of something. I saw a research. Ipsos did a research. They analyzed about 2,000 ads,
Mm-hmm.
and they found out that all out of the 2,000 ads, each one that had a nostalgia-driven aspect to it gave people 2.5 times more likelihood to like make an action rather than if they don't, right?
Yeah.
So meaning if you had an ad that got a nostalgia memory twist to it, you are encouraging people to buy from you 2.5 times higher than if you didn't.
Mm.
And the other part of the research also said that the people that are buying stuff because of the sentimental aspect of it. If you sell me this iPhone because I remember it from like 1980, I
Mm-hmm.
don't mind spending any amount of money because sentiments is not priceable, right? A lot of people are like, it's what I feel, is what I want. So
Mm-hmm.
we have all this information and we're doing something with it. In short, the
Mm-hmm.
next versions of trips, I think you're going to see robust development, robust innovation. And the digital space is fragmented. We don't, I'll admit to you, we don't prioritize trends.
Mm-hmm.
We prioritize memories, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what the app is for, is just to bring back memories. But the market is ripe for that. So we have a lot of things that we're working on. It's one step at a time. So, and I'm glad to come on here. Thanks a lot, Chris, for
Thank you.
you're my favorite people. So I'm glad to show up here and be able to have this conversation
There
with you.
you go. And we went down memory lane.
We did.
Yeah, just like the app. So you can download the app. So when I go, I've signed up for the app. I've got a profile on there.
Yeah.
As the things I want to do is maybe drag some stuff out of my past and
Yeah. Drag it up.
celebrate them.
Yeah.
There you
And
go. Find those old
if
pictures.
you can, please drag the journalist you were mimicking, because that I don't know that journalist, but I can just see like a black and white TV in like 1967 or something like
That's what they were too.
you know what I'm saying?
Even
So
the 70s, they had the
yeah.
black and white TV. We had one of those big console TVs that probably weighed. It was a furniture piece, right? And so it was like a
Mhm.
giant furniture piece with a giant TV in it, and we would sit in
Those
front of it.
TVs, those TVs, the ones that got the little cabinet.
Yeah, the cabinet. Yeah, that's it. The cabinet.
Yeah.
Those were something. Trying to move one of those things. Oh, yeah, you're getting a hernia for sure.
It's
Um,
kind of ironic though, right? Back in the day, those TVs says a lot about the family that owns it,
That's
right?
kind of true. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the funny thing is you remember, I don't know if your parents ever told you this about the TV when you were a kid, but they would always say, stop sitting so close to the TV. You're going to ruin your eyes.
Oh yeah, I've been told that.
Yeah.
But
And
but
those the
but that's true though, right? I think that's
kind of, yeah. I mean, those things, had some radiation back in the day. Even the early computer TVs, they would have a radiation screen for them.
man,
Uh,
I can't
but
believe back then, my brother just commented he's watching, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. When watching TV, me or him would go behind where we had the antenna, and my dad would be like, you can hear my dad yelling, saying, okay, turn the antenna left, go to your left and go to your right. This is, we were talking earlier about people say the good old days.
oh yeah.
That's not good.
We used to
Right?
have one of our siblings dance with the antenna, and he'd have to move around front and back
Yeah,
trying to.
yeah. So, but yeah, nice convo, man. Combos like this is exactly why the app
Yeah.
built. So
And see, now we can share those moments too, because you're going to go watch some Howard Cosell videos,
yeah.
and you're going to probably either remember him because I mean he was so iconic in that voice. But you'll remember him, and then you'll get to watch some of the great moments. But yeah, if you go back and watch the rope-a-dope moment, it's a great moment that entrepreneurs go through.
Hmm.
We go through this process where we get the shit beat out of us, by the app
Hmm.
stores and other places, and
Yeah.
and uh, and it's a thing about survival. I've certainly been beat down so many times, sometimes by life,
Mm-hmm.
and all the stuff going on, and you're trying to build something, and you can't build anything, and but you survive in the end, and you come out winning because you sometimes you just got to roll with the lashing and try and make things work coming out the other side.
I'm glad you said that, Chris. There's a category in the Trips app. It's called the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And what that category is for, what you just said right now, because a lot of times we see Chris Voss, he's got a successful show, Jeff Bezos, billionaire, but the problem is most of us just know the colors, the lightning, right, the success. We don't know what you've gone through
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning. We don't know how many times you wanted to give up. We don't know, like setting up the show. I'm sure you can tell the rest of us, like, it's not easy to do a podcast running all these years. You were
Mm.
podcast way before podcast was like a thing, right?
Yeah, it was
So
just barely starting out back then. People were like,
yeah,
podcast,
exactly.
man.
So what this category does is we want someone like Chris we want to give him the opportunity to say, okay, hey, I'm taking you down memory lane. Here's where I began. Here were my challenges. This is what I had to go through. What you see today, the successes alone is not, this is just the rosy picture. So I just wanted to kind of qualify your point. In fact, I call it the becoming, and then later I went to the journey. So I'm
Ah,
kind of going back, and because my idea of the becoming is, how did Chris become what he became today?
ah.
Right? So you can see how we're angling for some inspirational sort of storyline,
Mm-hmm.
and also taking that trip down memory lane to kind of walk us through his journey from the time that it began to the point that he's at right now. So yeah, we got all that on the Trips app. We got you
There you
covered,
go.
man.
Yeah. And then you get to share with people and they get to discover all these wonderful gems. I mean, I don't think there's ever been anybody like Muhammad Ali. I don't care what you say about, I mean, Dana White runs a great company with all those, wherever they are. There's something different about standing up and boxing.
Right? The Dana White guy.
Yeah. There's something, the MMA stuff is kind of nice, but it just always reminds me of prison sex. Um, I mean, it just really does. Two guys wrestling in their underwear with the balls touching. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if you love it, I mean, that's all fine for you. But man, when you've lived through Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Frazier, and the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, you just can't
Yeah.
compare. And so if you go back and watch those old videos, I mean, the rope a dope, the rumble in the jungle, you watch the hype that Ali put into that,
Hmm.
and you watch the beating that he takes. I mean, I don't know, how he survived it. I mean, George Foreman was no joke.
Hmm.
And he I mean, round after round, he pounds Ali, and Ali's laughing at him on the ropes, laughing, mocking him, getting him just, yeah, go ahead, beat me up. And George Foreman wears himself down because you can't output that thing. But just the fact that Ali could take it,
Hmm.
that was something else. And George got sucked into it. He's like, I'll beat you harder. He didn't say that, but he basically did that, and he just would hammer Ali, and then Ali would dance around like he was so great at what was that line that he used to say? Light as a butterfly,
Fine.
fast as a bee, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And just to watch him, I mean, to be smiling while you're getting beaten up by George Foreman
Yeah.
and say, bring it on. Like, I mean, that takes a level of manhood I haven't achieved yet. I don't like.
So Chris, if you've been to that, if you watch that, right?
Yeah.
What does it kind of make you devalue the game, the way the game is today? Like, do you still do you
You know
think
what it really
or the yes.
what it does for me is what I've kind of hinted at there a couple of times is it taught me that you can take a beating in life.
Hmm.
Maybe you'll take a beating as an entrepreneur. I've been in those things. I've lost, 5 figures in a business in the first year. And at the end of that year, you're sitting there going,
Yeah.
or is this gonna make a profit, or are we gonna bury the needle here? Another 50 grand or 100 grand or whatever it is. At what time do I stop the bleeding?
Right.
And I've been through that. And you sit there and you go, I don't know, man. I mean, where do we go from here? And is this going to get worse or is it going to get better? You know, and so, you know, I've been in situations, the 2008 financial crisis, the
Oh yeah,
COVID, you know, where I got the shit beat out of me, where I lost millions of dollars,
yeah,
and in companies and future revenue and things that I'd spent 20 years building. And boy, that was a George Foreman beating right there alone. But knowing that as long as I could still move in the ring, as long as I could stay in for the battle, no matter how beaten down I was, as long as I could keep going. And sometimes that's what the journey you experience as an entrepreneur is, you just have to keep going sometimes.
man. You're dropping a lot of you're dropping a lot of gems here, man.
Mhm.
That's just hearing it. You know, I'm sure people that are watching too. Sometimes it bears it's necessary to hear somebody else say it. You know,
Mhm.
I know exactly what you're going through, just what you're saying, just by this journey. Because, like I said earlier, it's the easiest thing is to just not do it, right? But you mentioned '08 crisis. I got my own story about that as well. But you know, people go through journeys, man. It's just the way it is. And as you said, if you can, you know, DMX. When I first I watched one of his um they had a tour, right? And they were backstage. And you know, DMX is someone that everybody thinks is crazy. Like, you know,
Mhm.
he he said something that stick with me till this day, and that is that he said, to live is to suffer, but to
Mhm.
survive is to find meaning within the suffering, right?
Mhm.
Um, Suffer, but don't waste. Suffer, but be able to get back up, right?
Mhm.
And it's been like when I remember the video cassette videotape
Mhm.
back in '01 or '02 is when I watched that.
Mhm.
They had the Def Jam tour. It was DMX, Jay Z, Method Man, Redman, like this big Def Jam tour. And in backstage, he was just talking, you know. But then while he was talking, he said that, and that when I listened to that, I'm like, man, I never heard anybody say that. Like, to live is to suffer, but to survive is to find meaning within the suffering.
Yeah.
Survive,
That's really epic.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It
That's
is
really epic.
right, you know. And till this day, like if things are going rough, I'm always like, you know, it's just another day. Like as long as you survive, you will live the next day.
Mhm.
As long as
Yeah.
you're alive, you'll get up the next day. So
I always tell people and think this in my head, you want to stop me? You're going to have to kill me. Because otherwise I'm going to be like Ali and the rope-a-dope, man. I'm going to keep coming back.
yeah,
I will keep coming. So you either put me down or I'll fight. If I can, I've been down on the mat where I've been destroyed and I got one finger and I'm
mhm.
like, bring it on. I'll fight you.
With the one
And
finger,
that's about the only thing I can move. Everything's been beaten to death.
you fight with the one finger, Chris.
As long as I can move, as long as I can fight, I'll do it. So I've been beaten down where there's nothing left that can move, and
Yeah,
except one finger, and I'm like, I'm still in the game. Don't tap me out. So yeah, there you go.
yeah, cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming to the show. This has been wonderful fun, and we've done our own throwback there and go back in
We
time.
did.
So,
We pretty much lived our own we live our own memories here.
there you go. In fact, we're getting some help from the show. Sting like a bee.
Thing like a bee.
There you go. And Ali Booma Yay.
Oh,
Oh, that's right. He would do the Ali Booma Yay, and the people in Africa.
in Africa, right? Yeah,
It means something in African, I believe. But he would get them chanting, and he would use their energy to fulfill
yeah.
his energy and mirror it back. And yeah, it was such a thing. Yeah, I used to watch that show. Looks
The
like
only
we
guy,
need to bring Ali to your app, and Howard Cosell.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
We gotta bring them out there. The only guy that I keep thinking about, there's a
Mhm.
coach that has a lot of epic, legendary quotes.
Mhm.
Um, it's not over till it's over. Who's that guy?
It's not here. Let me Google that.
There's a I think he used to was he a basketball coach
Might
or
be Wooden, maybe John
no
Wooden, Yogi Berra.
Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
That guy got a lot of he's got a lot of funny
It's not over till
till
it's
this
over.
over. It's deja vu all over again.
And that, my friends, is the rest of the
It's
story.
the Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
All
Well,
right,
thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Chris.
Thanks to your audience for tuning in and leaving these wonderful comments on the show.
Yeah, man, I'm everybody watching. What's up? I had completely forgot we were on Facebook Live, which is good because
Yeah.
it got me to not be nervous. So
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know,
I'm
so
good. But yeah, if you're watching, download the app. It's on iOS, it's on Android. Trips, TRIPPZ. If you have memories to share with us. That's why I'm here talking about it with Chris.
There you
Chris,
go.
I'll be back again.
There you go.
The 10 million mark, you know,
Let's do it.
we're gonna look at this day and say, let's take a trip down memory
We'll
lane.
do a throwback. Yeah. The show is like that. We have people that have passed away. We have people that we have time capsules of their youth on the show. Like even me, you can go back and look 16 years ago and be like, God, you look young and healthy. I still looked like shit, but you know, that's just how I was born. I have radio face. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, John, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one, the TikTokity, all those crazy places on the internet. Subscribe to the show at chrisvoss.show. You can do that. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.